Greetings, everyone. This is Trey Jadlow. I'm here on this 23rd day of November 2018. I'm here with a new friend named Phill, whom I just met on Facebook and Defending Presuppositionalism page. And he made a comment a few minutes ago about how he doesn't know whether there's a God or not, but he sees no reason for there to be a God. And so I asked him if he would be willing to come on and defend his perspective, and he graciously agreed. So I'm glad for that. So thank you, Phill, for entertaining me here.
Right on, man. Glad to be here. I'm hearing it play again. The audio of you.
Oh, you need
Are you hearing it too?
No, you have the other one open. You need to close the other window.
Okay, there it is. I see what you mean.
There we go. Same thing sometimes.
There, it's closed.
Okay, so whenever I do a hangout, I always like to know a little bit about my interlocutor. If you could give me a little bit of information about yourself, whatever you're comfortable with, maybe if you're married, you have family, you have children, and maybe a little bit about your belief system, where you're at, where you came from, and stuff.
Sure. So yeah, I'm married. Got kids. My wife's Catholic. I'm not. See, my family, we never really went to church, but there was always that, we believe in God thing going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was never really stressed. Mm-hmm. I went to church when I was a teenager.
Now, what kind of church? Was it Catholic or?
It was a Baptist.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They never made any mention of like breaking it down further than that. The way I've heard it in the last few years, being part of these discussions and, hearing the various beliefs of different, churches, that sort of thing. So it was just Baptist in the title, nothing really beyond that.
Sure, that's pretty common for most like Southern Baptist churches. There's not really a lot of content that is taught. It's mostly just focusing on the gospel and that you need to believe it. And that's
that's kind of how it was.
Yeah, that's
it was
common.
Like, here it is, and that's all.
Right. So you went to church when you were younger. Then did you ever consider yourself a Christian?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I was raised to believe that. So when I started going to church, which honestly wasn't for the best reasons. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of funny, actually. I was like 13 or 14, hanging out with a buddy of mine. He's like, dude, you need to go to what's it called? Youth group with me. I'm like, why, man? There's girls there.
Well, that's pretty common, I think. Either their parents are making them or there's something to draw them, something like that. So
exactly. It makes me think of Adam Sandler's joining the cult thing from one of his comedy albums. He's like, yeah, I'm joining the religious cult and you got to join too. He's like, why? There's a girl I want to meet there. Jeez.
Yeah. That's pretty common, I think. Yeah.
I've always thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty accurate, I think. Okay. So as you grew older, you just began to see that there's really nothing there. And so you just came to a position of skepticism then on God's existence.
Well, as far as like going to church, I just kind of stopped at some point, just stopped going.
Right.
No real reason, just didn't go anymore. Remember I watched like George Carlin, comedy specials late at night sometimes. I think, he makes some good points sometimes, but I mean, I didn't really think anything about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It wasn't the heaviest thing weighing on my every thought, and then I'd say it was a good, I don't know, several years later before I really discovered like Dawkins and Hitchens. Started watching their lectures on YouTube, reading their books, and then really identify myself as an atheist. Really, the first time I said, yeah, I'm an atheist was when my cousin commented on one of my Facebook posts of a George Carlin meme. I don't remember which one it was. It might have been about the Ten Commandments, maybe. I don't know. It sounds like it might have been that one. He's like, my cousin is a pastor. I won't say who he is.
Sure.
But he does pre-sup and so that's always kind of fun to talk about for me.
Uh-huh.
But that first time when he asked me that, I was like, I really thought about it. I didn't just jump right into like, no. It was like, oh, what is the difference? He asked me if I was an atheist or an agnostic, and I'm like, what's the difference? And I took some time to really think about him, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I'm an atheist then. Agnostic seems just kind of on the fence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's really it for me.
Okay, so you consider yourself a pretty hard atheist?
I will. Well, I guess so. I'm not going to say there absolutely is no God, but I don't believe there is one. I have no reason to believe there is one. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't know the way to best describe it.
Okay. So, hold on just a minute. I was doing something else here.
I see that. Just giving you crap.
So, well, so, I guess, well, let me just skip that. I'll just say this. So, from your perspective, how would you justify our existence if you do not appeal to God?
How would I justify our existence?
Yeah, or your existence, let's say, as the inquirer. Do you know who I am? Have you seen me at all anywhere?
Yeah, I've seen your stuff before.
Okay, so you're part of the Great Debate community?
Sort of.
I mean, on G Plus, because you mentioned JD Kane.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So how would you justify your existence then, if there's no God?
What do you mean justify my existence?
How do you account for yourself? Because you didn't make yourself, right?
My parents had sex, and there's me.
Okay. What about your parents?
Their parents,
And
so
forth. Their parents. Okay, keep going.
It goes back to that.
Goes back to what?
It just keeps on going like that.
To when?
To when?
Yeah.
I guess to when life first began on Earth.
Okay. And so how did life begin on the Earth?
I don't know for sure how life began on Earth.
Okay, but you said you saw no reason for it. So you would agree then that your parents were potential before they were actual, right? In other words, there was the matter that you would say that makes up your parents, and it had to be assembled in a certain way in order for your parents to be able to exist. So they were potentially your parents before they were actually your parents. How does that...
Hold on for 1 second. Hold on.
Sure, no problem.
Hey, Trey, give me 5 minutes. I gotta make a call for my wife. That was her on the phone.
All right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry about this delay. Hopefully it won't be 5 minutes. I don't know what I can do to make it more interesting. Let's see. Scientists have finally discovered why a wombat poop is cube-shaped. Well, that's interesting. Why is it? Injection molding a square. Huh. That's the shape of their intestine. It stretches unevenly with horizontal ridges and allows the formation of cubes. Could provide insight into modern manufacturing techniques. We're always living by analogy. Anyway.
Sorry about that, man. I'm back.
No problem. Yeah, that wasn't too long. Okay, so
With a rough estimate.
I was hoping it would be. So let's see. So you let's say your parents talk about you. So let's say you were potentially you before you were actual. And so you're saying that all existence is potential before it is actual because you're saying everything is an effect. Would that be an accurate statement?
I'd say it was potential because of the different sperm and egg that were involved. You know, one different sperm and I'm a different person. You know what I mean? Or I'm not here and a different person is.
Whoever comes about before they're actual, they're potential. And you're saying that everything goes back. Everything is potential at base before it is actual, but you can't have something be potential without being activated by something that's already actual. In other words, something, because you're not you until you can be potentially you, just like you can talk about ice cream is potentially cold before it is frozen to its actual state in a freezer. So that coldness or that hardness that is a result of that ice cream being frozen, it's not frozen ice cream until it's frozen. So it's not what it is until it is, but it has to be activated by something that's already actual. In other words, we have an agent that is taking the ice cream and putting it in the freezer, let's say, and you have the freezer that's already actually cold. And so it's not frozen ice cream until it's actually actualized in that, but everything cannot be potential because that which is potential is not what it is yet. So if everything is potential, then everything is really nothing. But that's what you're postulating. You're saying everything's an effect. Everything's an effect. You can't have a cause. You can't have an effect without a cause. And you can't have an infinite regress of causal chain of effects that are actualized into what they are because it makes no sense. Really what you're saying is everything is an effect without a cause.
Why can't you?
Because it doesn't make any sense. If something is potentially what it is, it's not what it is yet. You agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that, but you assume it has to have a cause. That doesn't mean it has to. Does it?
Well, the principle of causality is analytically true. When you say that every effect must have a cause, you're invoking the nature of cause to explain the effect. And when you talk about something needs a cause give rise to an effect, you're invoking effect to define cause. In other words, those terms are mutually exclusive or mutually reciprocative. They need each other in order to define each other. You can't define the terms without invoking the other. So if you want to say everything is an effect without a cause, it's irrational because the term effect requires a cause in order to define it. It doesn't make any sense. You can't. It's a violation of the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction. You're saying something is what it is and what it isn't. At the same time, it makes no sense. So there must be a cause, otherwise there would be no effect, which is you. There must be something that is self-existent, that is unchanging, that is not potential in any way, because potentiality cannot give rise to actuality because it's potentially what it is and not actually what it is. It cannot be actualized without something outside of it actualizing it, which is already actual. That's why atheism is so stupid. I mean, this is why for the history of mankind, nobody's thought atheism to be very genius until today, until we get YouTube and Snapchat.
How are you defining atheism when you say that?
To say that there is no self-existent being that gives being to all dependent being.
So you're taking the hard atheist stance with that definition instead of
No.
just I don't believe there is a God.
No, well, if you're an agnostic, you say there's no reason to say there's a God. I just gave you a reason. Potential being doesn't make itself before it is. You're violating the law of non-contradiction. Something cannot be what it is before it is. Have to be and not be at the same time in the same relationship, which is irrational. That's what atheism is
Can
based on.
God be and not be at the same time?
No, he cannot. That's ridiculous. He is pure act. He's pure being. He's pure actuality. There's no change within him. He's not going through metamorphosis or change in any way. If he is, then all being makes no sense. It's irrational.
Like if God were to change his mind, that would be irrational.
That's right. He cannot change his mind because then he made a mistake. There's something he doesn't know. He wouldn't be omniscient, and he would be infallible. I mean, he would be fallible. He would be composite. He would have different parts within him that are not giving him his pure essence, because he would have to change state of being in order to change his mind. And this kind of stuff was just child's play until we came to the Enlightenment, and you see men like Hume and Kant, most notably in Kant, from my perspective, who basically said, and he was a theist. He considered himself a Christian, but he wanted to protect God, just like the presupposition. I'm not a presuppositionalist. He wanted to protect God from reason, and so he came up with actually the transcendental argument is what the presuppositionalists use. It's a Kantian argument, and basically what it does is it protects people from doubting God. The only problem is it's irrational. It doesn't. When you beg the question, you're not proving anything. You're just saying, I don't want to think about it, essentially.
So everything needs a cause, right?
No, every effect needs a cause. That's Bertrand Russell made that mistake throughout his whole life. He carried it that he thought that everything needed a cause. Nobody's ever said that everything needs a cause. Every effect needs a cause. Everything that has potential being, everything that changes, must have something that acts upon it to give it its current state.
So is God an effect or a cause?
He's a cause.
He's a cause.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know that?
Well, I just said so. You cannot have an effect without a cause. We are an effect, right?
Reproductively speaking, sure.
Any ontologically, I mean, in any sense you want to say, we are an effect. Anything that changes is an effect, by definition, because it moves from one state to another. When I blink my eyes, I become a different person. Not that I have continuity of being, but I have changed my state of being as I move. And there's a really loud noise there.
Sorry, I'm moving in my other room. Sorry, I'm going to mute for a second.
Oh, okay.
All right, I'm in the living room with my kids now.
Okay. So you can't have potential being without actual being.
Okay.
So when you say that,
how does that relate to what my statement was?
Well, your stance is that there's no reason to believe that there's a God, and I just gave you a reason. In fact, it's the only thing that makes any sense.
That's the only thing that makes any sense?
Well, can you give me another explanation?
If I give me enough time, and I could give you a good one.
I bet you couldn't. I know you can't now, and I've never heard anybody give another one. Not only in my lifetime, I've never read of anybody that do that.
Okay. What makes more sense? The Bengals need a new head coach. That makes sense.
There we go.
And you need a creator. That makes even infinitely more sense than that.
Why do I need a creator?
Because you can't make yourself before you are, according to the law of non-contradiction.
I can't make myself because I'm already here.
Right. But before you were here, did you exist to make yourself?
You can't exist to make yourself.
That's right. So in order for you to make yourself, to be self-existent...
So your question made no sense.
My question is, you said that you... Would you affirm that you had to make yourself if you exist and if you change? There's a lot of...
Say that again? Yeah, they're watching TV. Back to the Future. Would you say that again?
If you are moving into the state of being that you have now, before you existed, could you affect yourself into existence? In other words, if you're dependent on your existence, then you're not self-existent in your existence by definition, right?
Before I existed, how could I exist before I existed?
Right. So something else had to give you your existence.
So your question just made no sense. That doesn't make any sense at all.
That you need to be and not be at the same time in the same relationship to be self-caused? That's what you're saying. You're your own cause. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, what are you saying?
I'm saying your question just made no sense.
Okay, how do you justify your existence?
My existence, I'm here because my parents had sex. There we go.
Okay. You don't even understand what I'm saying, do you?
How about you explain it better?
I don't know how I could explain it anymore. Something cannot make itself before it existed. You could not have brought yourself into existence. So therefore, you had to be brought by something else other than you. You want to say it's your parents, but your parents themselves are dependent. And as we spoke earlier, you can go all the way back to if you want to say the Big Bang or the starting of everything. It did not start itself before it was, right? Because it was an effect. It didn't exist yet. How could it have made itself?
Could the Big Bang... Wait, say that again. The Big Bang part. Go back.
If at the Big Bang, the existence that existed, that came into existence, could not have existed before it did, because it would not have come into existence. It could not exist before it existed, right?
No.
Okay, so what gave ontology to being at the Big Bang? Had to be something with self-existence, right?
Not necessarily.
Okay, why?
Well, the Big Bang was the beginning of the universe, right?
Yes.
As far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a while since I've read Krauss and even talked about this with anybody. So
Krauss didn't know what he's talking about.
All right.
He's just playing word games. That's all he does. He's a charlatan.
He's playing word games.
He wants to say out of empty space everything came, and call that nothing. That's not nothing.
He's using nothing in a different way than what we're used to.
That's right. He's a word gamer. He's not saying anything interesting. I guarantee you in 500 years, nobody will know who Lawrence Krauss was.
Okay.
He's a nothing. He's a blip on the screen.
Okay. That's funny.
Well, you're welcome to demonstrate me wrong.
You want to talk to somebody better educated than that than me, dude.
Okay, but that's fine. And I'm not saying I couldn't be wrong, but I'm just saying you're not rebutting me.
Well, you're saying that You're saying Krauss is wrong. Or are you in that field? No,
I am not.
Okay, so you're saying that he's wrong, and you're not in that field. I'm not in that field either. So
that's
who are we to say that he's wrong?
Okay, that's an argument from authority. I'm saying he's just playing word games. He's not really saying anything interesting. He's just redefining nothing to be something.
And that's fine that you don't think it's worth listening to. Fine. That doesn't make it wrong.
Well, yeah, but I am saying he's wrong. He's not making an argument, and you're not rebutting it and just saying, well, he's an expert, so we should believe him.
That I didn't say we should just believe him. I'm just saying you just not accepting it doesn't make it wrong.
That's true. But I gave you a reason, okay? Everything did not come from nothing. You can't get something out of nothing. Nothing is a negation. It's a universal negative. It says no thing. It's not something. It's no thing. If there were a time when there were absolutely nothing, then we would have nothing today. You wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
What he talks about is the way atoms blink in and out of existence sometimes. Okay? That's what he means.
But they don't blink in and out of existence. They appear to come in and out of existence, the subatomic particles.
Do they not blink
no,
in
they
and out
can't.
of existence?
No, they can't. Because they cannot create they cannot create themselves before they are.
How do you know they can't?
Because, oh my goodness, we've just been talking about this. You cannot have something activate itself into existence before it is. It's stupid. This is what Albert Einstein and
that's
Niels
just
Bohr
your opinion, bro. That doesn't mean it's wrong.
No, it's not. It's not an opinion.
That is your opinion. That's all you're saying there.
It's an analytic fact. Can you make yourself before you exist? You just said it's irrational yourself.
Can I make myself before I exist? Think about that question.
I know, and that's why you're saying. That's what you're saying. Subatomic particles do that. Is what you're saying. Think about it. It's not that hard.
I'm not a subatomic particle. All right.
Oh my God. It does have ontology, though, right? It has being.
Does it?
Well, okay, then what are you talking about? Oh my gosh. Oh my.
None of this points to a God existing. All right. Or a good reason to think one does.
You know what, Phil? This is why I was just talking to some friends this morning. I thought nobody really believes in a new atheism anymore, except for pimple-faced kids. I think that the movement has just petered out because it's just so dumb. Guys like Dawkins and Hitchens and Dennett are just so ignorant, and people think, oh my, and now they're just so dumb. Yeah, okay, but and you can say, oh well, you're just calling names, whatever. Well, give me something.
Yeah, you are just calling names.
Well, okay, give me some substance.
Okay.
Show me how something can create itself before it is.
That doesn't even. All right. Here's why I don't believe in any gods. All right. Because if you go back in the span of history, there have been religions throughout time. Would you agree?
Yes, of course.
Okay. What makes them wrong?
That they don't correspond to reality.
How do you know that?
Because you can test them. You can look at the claims.
So if you look at the Roman pantheon, what's wrong with those gods?
All their gods are passable. They're all changeable. They all change. They're like instantiations of humans, only to a higher degree. That's irrational. Because again, you can't deal with the one and the many, or the being and the becoming, the cause and effect. You cannot have change in the ultimate reality, and you can't have more than one ultimate reality, because there cannot be a distinction in ontology, and because one would be better than the other. So it's only got to be one, and it's got to be self-existent, and it's got to be personal, because we have personhood.
Why does it have to be personal? Why couldn't there just be a God who just made everything and then screwed off, just went away?
Okay, how do you justify your personhood then? Your valuing, your teleology, your purpose.
My purpose?
You're purposing to say this conversation, right? Or have this conversation.
I don't have to have a purpose for a God to exist.
Did you purpose to say that?
Did I mean to say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I meant to say that.
Okay, so is that a purpose?
To say that.
Did you purpose to say something?
Yes, I put words out of my mouth and said these things.
Yes. Toward a certain goal, right?
Sure.
Okay. How do you justify purpose unintentionally?
Unintentional purpose.
Right.
What you just said?
The thing, there's no.
Sounds like an oxymoron.
That's right. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Right. So that question doesn't make any sense, Trey. What are you doing?
You're the one that's you're the one that's asserting it. You said that you have purpose. Goodness gracious.
Hold on. me mute for my dog.
Man, oh man, it's like talking in a very.
I can hear you. So anyway, all right. Throughout time, there have been countless religions. All right.
Right.
How do we know any of them are right, and all the other ones are wrong?
We can test to see that which corresponds to reality. Does it make sense?
Whose reality?
Well, you believe there's an objective reality outside of your consciousness. Do you agree with that?
An objective reality. What
Mm-hmm.
you mean? One that we all experience? That's going on right now.
Well, I'm just saying, we don't need to experience it in order for it to be. It just is. Like, for example, if you want to create the reality that gravity does not exist and you walk off the roof, does gravity cease to exist?
Yeah, things don't happen just because you believe.
Right. So there is a real reality outside of our consciousness that we must correspond to, called realism.
Okay.
Okay. So reality. Our job is to find out what is true and then to bow our knee to that, whatever it may be, whether it be 2 + 2 is 4 or the law of gravity. All right, so we can test these religions and see which ones make sense. It's possible that since they're all exclusive and they make exclusive claims, they can't all be right. It's either one is right or they're all wrong.
Would gravity work without any gods existing?
Gravity is, we don't really know what it is. We don't know what its substance is, but it's something that is not the ultimate reality because it can be acted upon. So therefore, it is an effect. It is contingent in itself.
Would 2 + 2 = 4 without any gods existing?
There would be no rational constructs of abstract ideas without a mind. Do you agree with that? Do you agree that mathematics is mental by nature?
Would 2 + 2 = 4 without any gods existing?
No, there would be no 2 + 2 is 4. That's my whole point.
Really?
Is 2 + 2 is 2 + Yeah, I do hear myself. What's your problem?
Because that statement was insane.
How so?
You don't need anything else to be real without, it's an abstract thing. It doesn't need something else to be real.
Do those concepts actually exist?
Mathematics?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
As a concept.
Are they mental in nature? Are they concepts of the mind?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you justify them if there's no mind?
They would still be real without a mind to think them.
Okay, you just said they're concepts
they're a concept
of the mind, right?
Right, but they don't need the mind to still be true.
Okay, well, how can they exist if they are mental concepts and you don't need a mind to have them? I don't understand your logic there.
They don't need us to still be true.
They don't need us, no, because we just experience them. Because we're changed. I'm talking about the universal of abstract numbers are mental by nature. They're concepts of mind. And unless there is a self-existent objective mind, there is no 2 + 2 is 4. As well as any perfection that we see would be even justice. You've got to have some perfection of justice in order for it to instantiate in our being even here now. Anything that we experience.
Well, justice is subjective.
Well, justice is state that we move into and out of. You can say that you predicate about something. You say that judge, for example, is just or unjust. That person we're talking about either participates in justice more or less in whatever he does. It's called an accidental quality of him. It's something that he participates in. But you cannot have the instantiation or the experience of justice without a perfection of justice that give meaning to that diversity of justice, which must be something in the mind of God.
Why must it be in the mind of God?
Because it's got to be.
And which God are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Christian God.
Okay. So is it just to punish a father for the sins of the son? Or vice versa? Is that justice?
Well, I don't know. What are you saying justice? Are you saying that you're assuming that it's wrong to do a certain deed because existence is special?
If my dad committed a crime, should I be arrested for it?
If you were arrested for it, would that be a problem?
Yeah, because I wasn't the one who committed the crime.
Okay, so you're assuming a standard there. If your dad, let's say, violated the sanctity of existence of someone else, he should be punished for that. Is that what you're saying?
If he broke a law, he should be punished, correct?
Okay, but laws are just made upon ideas that we have that existence is holy. Do you agree with that? So the law is not the standard. There's a standard that we correspond to in making our laws.
Yeah, there's a standard of society that we say we will tolerate X, we will not tolerate Y.
Right, and it's always centers around the sanctity of existence, right?
Around the sanctity of existence? What do you mean?
Well, when you kill somebody, you've violated their existence, and therefore you deserve to be punished, right? When you deface a veteran memorial, you have violated the sanctity of that monument, therefore you desire to be. When you run a red light, you have violated the sanctity of the people driving around you, therefore you deserve to be punished, right?
Well,
every law is made regarding the sanctity of existence. That's why we make laws.
a lot of them, yeah.
Well, all of them are. That's why we do it.
Well, there's laws against theft and drug use.
Right. That violate the sanctity of existence.
Marijuana laws, for example. No one dies from marijuana overdoses. So
they say that they say that marijuana does not violate the sanctity of existence to the point that we should make it legal. See, it's always in question whether something's legal or not. Does it offend the sanctity of existence?
Yeah, if we're talking meth or cocaine, yeah, we should probably not let those be legal.
Right. So
marijuana
I'm asking
has
you
medicinal properties.
Yeah. So I'm asking you, why do we have that standard of the sanctity of existence if existence doesn't matter?
I didn't say existence doesn't matter.
Existence does matter, right?
Yeah, to most people.
Why? They've been determined to do that. What determined them to do that? To be that way?
What determined them to think existence is good?
Yeah.
Say that again?
Yeah. What determined those people who value existence to have them value existence?
Well, they probably came to a determination or a conclusion rather than something determining it for them.
Okay, but they had to be programmed to value it, right?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't have to respect the way you vote to think that you should still be able to vote. Do you agree with that? Does that make sense?
No, because if I'm Hitler, should I be allowed to vote for, and I have the power to overthrow a society? Should I have that power to do that?
You should have your one vote.
No, I'm saying well, let's not say it's a democracy. Let's say I'm a despot and I have military on my side. Does my vote count?
Oh, now we're getting into Trump's future America. South Korea.
South Korea?
Or maybe
North Korea?
North Korea. Yeah, you know what I meant. Stalin. Either way. We are so off track.
You know what? Listen, Phil, I need to get going. I've got to take a case to a doctor here. That's why I wanted to run it earlier. I got to get over there before they close. But I mean, we can talk again in the future if you'd like to.
Sure.
And,
all right. Let me really break down what I was saying in that post. All right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that any gods do or don't exist. They could. I don't know. It's possible. It's possible. Anything's possible. Okay. Just because it's possible doesn't mean it's probable, though.
Right.
I don't believe that any do, from my experience in life. All right. If you look around on this planet, it is clear that if there is a God, he gave up or just left us to be. Okay. Either one of those situations, I'm like, all right, there's no reason to think one does in this case. It's, and
Okay.
And we look at, and I look at the stories from other religions and modern religions, and none of them make any sense. All right, from the Roman pantheons, which I followed when I was a teenager because they were fun. Like, and the stories in the Bible and in the Quran are just, a lot of them are just either fables or just completely made up. Coming back from the dead, Muhammad riding on a horse in the sun, or whatever it is, up to the sun in the sky. That's all made up. Okay.
I agree. But here's the thing. I mean, we had this conversation as if I said nothing to you, and you just repeated the memes that you learned from Richard Dawkins without actually really interacting with the content that I gave you. I mean, it's like, what are you interested in really thinking about these things, or are you just going to come to your conclusion because somebody you respect tells you that, and you would like it to be that way?
I came to that conclusion before reading Dawkins.
Yeah, but you didn't.
Was the thing.
You didn't listen to a thing I said, though.
You went in a roundabout way of getting around every little thing and trying to say, "Oh, this is why God exists." Fine, if you want to think that makes any sense to you, that's great.
And that's my thing. I can't make you think, and that's fine if you don't want to. It's unfortunate, but I didn't just make blind assertions.
Okay.
I didn't make blind assertions. I gave you reasons for what I was saying and said it's an analytical truth that God exists. It's not something that's open to question.
Well, it's not an
if we exist. Well, I know it doesn't matter what I say. That's the thing.
You're claiming that it is one, but
no, I demonstrated it. You cannot have an effect without a cause. It's an analytic truth. It's nothing that a child can understand, and yet the atheists who are all about facts can't seem to grasp it. And it's quite simple.
That's great. Okay.
Anyway, Phil, I need to get going. I got to get over there before they close. And I'm thank you for giving me this time and talking with me. You've been very kind, and maybe we can talk in the future.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
okay.
I like that. I kept myself from swearing on your channel, so that's probably good.
Okay. All right. Well, you have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, we'll see you.
All right. Thanks.